Welcome to the Oxen Group Nightly. My name is David Ristow. I'm the president, CEO, and founder of the Oxen Group. We're a financial website that features financial analysis and investment opportunities for today's changing market. On the Oxen Group Nightly tonight, we will be discussing the market wrap-up about today's market. Also be looking at our recommended position in ZUMZ. We'll be looking at our recommended position in INFN that we've been holding for some time and what it's currently doing. We're looking at some of our other current positions and exits we had today. We'll also be talking about a long-term rating update that we had today on Baidu, the Chinese internet company, and we will also be looking at our forecast for tomorrow. So today was a great day in the market. We had a coupling of declining oil prices and strong financials that really helped raise the market. Bank of America was the gem of the day as they highlighted that they have extra money on hand and they see more of it coming in the next years, and they signaled that maybe dividends and share buybacks may be on the way. We'll get to that some more in a bit here. And also oil prices, they cooled off today. Sort of rose actually throughout the day after a very sharp decline at the start. Comments that we actually talked about this in last night's show. Comments from Gaddafi that that power was going to be ceded, and that he's looking to cede power. Probably was going to cause a decline today and was going to be good for the markets. And that's why we picked up a ultra short on the oil at the end of yesterday that paid off nicely today. And as long as again, as we talked about yesterday, the problems in Libya, if they continue to de-escalate, it will continue to drop the price of oil, which continue to help fuel equities. Now, we also talked about how, what really can change in Libya. The only thing that can basically happen now that would re-escalate the conflict is if Gaddafi goes back on what he says, because the market's basically priced in that there's basically an all-out war now in Libya between rebels and Gaddafi supporters. But Gaddafi holds the key, I think, to the oil market, and as he decides to descend from the throne, basically, that he's made for himself there, that will cause oil prices to decrease, as well as comments from OPEC that came out today that they're ready to up supply in order to meet any kind of loss of supply, as they don't want oil prices to increase too greatly. So overall, I think we've seen a high for the oil prices. Not that it means that we're going to have a sharp decline back below 100 or back to 90 or even 80, but just that I think we have it now priced in the market, and it's now sustained, and it's going to be kind of a small up and down. I don't think we're going to have any very violent up days or anything like that, and in fact, more likely we'll have some more violent down days for oil. But the real gem of the day was, they always said the financials would lead us out of this crisis, and it looks like they're finally ready to. Speaking at their first investors conference since 2007, Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan, he made some bullish comments on the day. He said that they're ready to refocus on investors. They want to give money back to investors that stuck with them through these hard times. They're ready to, basically up their dividend, give share buybacks to help increase the value of shares to equity value. And then they're also going to start focusing more on their earnings, their customers, making sure that they're more focused now on building just what they have. They think that they've had enough acquisitions, they've had enough rebuilding phase, and they're ready to move forward out of the crisis. And it was basically kind of a culmination of, okay, that's the end of it for us. That's the end of the recession. That's the end of this financial crisis. We're ready to take a step forward into a new financial era, a new financial market, and we're ready to make money in this market. And it was a really bullish comment, especially because I think out of a lot of the companies, Bank of America has been one that people have thought maybe is going to struggle for some time in the same kind of group with Citigroup, whereas you had some of the more stronger companies like Chase and Wells Fargo that we thought might be the first advantage. But Bank of America kind of going out there and saying boldly, we're ready to raise our dividend, we're ready to do share buybacks. It was great for the financials, great for the market. So as we see, the market started out a little bit volatile, up and down here. I actually thought we were going to have a down day after I saw what happened early on. I saw oil prices declined sharply, but then they started to stabilize. I thought they were going to come back up, and I thought we were just going to drop again. But we got those comments out of Bank of America conference from Moynihan and the company, and that that just sparked it. It needed a catalyst to get going, and it got that catalyst, and we rose all the way up here to 12,240, and that's actually kind of about the level where we settled after the jobs information came out. So basically pricing that jobs information back in, and now we're at a very key level here. As we see, we didn't give up the gains really, but we didn't increase anymore back that level, and I think the market's ready to either we're ready to get back up and rev back up, or are we going to have this kind of clinging crisis, oil prices up and down, and sort of continuing to plague equities? And that's where really the market is right now. It has to decide where it wants to go, and it's very key on what happens in Libya, what happens with oil, I think, moving forward. With that said, today we recommended a position to get into in ZUMZ. We entered our recommendation at 27.37, and we're looking for the stock to gain about 1 to 3% before its earnings report. We think this will be a nice, quick midterm trade for us that we can get out of either tomorrow or Thursday. However, the stock did lose a little bit of ground today, closed down 1% from where we got in, but we did get in at a little bit of a higher price than I'd actually wanted. But I was afraid we were going to miss the train on this one, and we almost got that 1% gain where we would have probably taken half the position off, but just missed it. And really what the story is here on ZUMZ is we have a combination of earnings coming out on Thursday evening with really, really great, continually great same store sales year or month over month, year over year. The company you see here, this was back last week on Thursday. They reported they had a 15%, 12% same-store sales increase for year over year for February. And that increase was much greater than the expectations that were at 4%. So they really, really beat expectations greatly. And if you look back here, you can see that the stock was up around the 30 range. And if you go back here, back to this part of the chart that's not there, you would see that the stock was trading in the 32 to 33 range. And in their last quarter, they had really solid earnings, very good earnings, tripled their earnings. But the stock sold off. It had weak sector-specific news in the teen retail section that this kind of stock seems to get grouped into, and it's been selling off as kind of retail was sort of weak throughout the end of the year last year. But it got a lot of good catalysts after they reported really solid same-store sales in January and then again in February. And the company is expecting to have really nice earnings. I think about 0.50 EPS expectations, growing from 0.33 1 year ago, and we're very excited about the stock. The chart on the technicals, I'm not sure is the greatest for us. I mean, we would rather buy something maybe at a support line here on the moving average, or down here at a lower Bollinger that represents a value investment. We don't tend to go with growth stocks as much here at the Oxen Group, but this is a growth company. They're a company that is pretty well valued already, at $27 a share. But this stock is a company that is taking market share from Pacific Sunwear, who basically bowed out from that sort of sector of skateboarding and surfing and stuff, and they're actually trying to move towards a new market. And so ZUMZ is really filling that gap, and they're doing even better than people I think expected, and probably increasing past the market share that they took from Pacific Sunwear. And this is a company that I really highly expect to have very good earnings, and they're going to forecast their 2011 earnings or fiscal year, and I think it's going to be very, very good. And so we're very excited about this position. We think that before earnings, it may not get a great move. We're going to probably, that's why we hope for maybe 1 to 3%, but we're actually going to, I think, hold a small portion of this into earnings, and I'm expecting to get a pretty good exposure to that report that we're expecting to be very bullish. And I don't think the stock is priced in enough gain for what these earnings are going to look like, considering last quarter before earnings it was at around the 32 to 33 level, and it really hasn't had anything but good news since. INFN, this is a stock we have been holding since this date right here, back at towards the end of February, and you can see we were very disappointed when we got this. We had a full position into earnings. It was the last time we've ever done that. We basically made a rule that we would never do that again after this happened, and we were able to double down here. right here on this day at 780 level, and that allowed us to get an average entry of 847. And we can see that this stock is actually starting to look, this chart's starting to look very, very nice. It gained a lot of support. It has a lot of support here now at 775, is that a little bit above that lower Bollinger Band, and now the stock broke its moving average and its pivot point on the Bollinger Band. It got a great day today. Ticked all the way up to just under where we wanted to exit at 847 to just get out at neutral. We've been holding this stock, hoping to get out at neutral for a small gain. And at this rate, we may see this stock break that 850 area, go even higher, and we could even look at maybe taking away a small gain from this stock, which would be absolutely tremendous considering we were down 25% on it at one point. Other positions, we exited half of Ann Taylor this morning for a 2.1% gain. We exited half of Smithfield Foods for a 2.2% gain this morning. We exited that ultra short oil ETF I was talking about for 1% gain. We missed out on about a 3% gain. We pulled the trigger a little early, got a little antsy on that one, but that's okay. And then we averaged out of Casey that was a 4.5% loss actually, as the stock slipped on earning news that we talked about that one yesterday. Quickly, we had a long-term rating update on Baidu. This is basically the Google of China. We have a buy rating on the stock, and we have a very high price target of 190. And this is a company that I truly think should be in everybody's portfolio, your long-term portfolio. The stock trades at 120 right now, so you're looking at a more than 50% increase, I think, in the next 12 months. The company continues to outperform expectations. They're going to see growth of most likely 100 to 150%, and revenue and earnings are going to grow at a tremendous rate as well in the coming years. You've got 20% of China that has internet access right now, and that's going to probably double or more in the next 5 years. And that means that Baidu is going to take market share, but not only does that mean more people are going to come to the internet, but also businesses in China are going to become more technologically savvy. They're going to want to increase their capabilities on the internet as more people in China come to them. And the thing about even better about Baidu is that they're not connected so much to discretionary spending. This has a lot to do with business spending. This has a lot to do with just people accessing the internet, which is not typically connected very much to discretionary spending. I mean, the inflationary risk in China do play some part in some of the risk on Baidu, but overall we think this is a very nice stock, a very good company that has a lot of potential. For tomorrow, we've talked a lot about what we think will happen. It's really just up to which way do we go from here. The oil drop sets up for an important day tomorrow. I think if we can get some good earnings, we got a good earnings this afternoon from Suntech Power, which I think sets up a solar rally for tomorrow. And then we have American Eagle and Navistar tomorrow. If we can get some good earnings, some good company news, crude inventories and wholesale inventories are out tomorrow. If we can get a little bit of a nice report from both of those, I think we can have a really nice day again tomorrow. Check us out at the Oxen Group. My name is David Ristow. Contact me anytime at contact@theoxengroup.com. Call us at our 1-800 number at 1-800-709-1160. Please be a part of our 70% plus accuracy.